Yes, welcome back. Been too long, damn it. Way too long. Cinema Draft Podcast, an emergency Black Panther podcast with two of our favorites, damn it. You know him, you love him, you're waiting for his controversial hot takes. It's Jay Devlin.
What up, son?
And it is the official therapist of the pod. You know her, you love her. It's also Nicole Ward.
Hello.
There we go. I'm missing my soundboard. I'm missing my single draft soundboard. There we go.
Wow, that's back too. Yay.
Yes, it's all back. Yeah, it's all back. So the instructions for tonight's pod are very simple. Actually, there's no rundown because I just want to talk about three things. I've got three things I want to touch on. So the first thing we'll start with, if I never turn the music off, there we go. First thing I want to start with are just the themes. All right, the themes of Black Panther. Now this is a totally spoiled podcast. You owe it to yourself to see this movie, damn it. If for nothing else, be part of the cultural conversation. It's broken all kinds of records. It's done over $242 million over the 4-day President's Weekend. It is destroyed Deadpool's record for a 3-day February opening. It's just killing records all over the place. I personally saw it for a second time today in D-Box, glorious motion D-Box, and it was awesome. So Wakanda forever, damn it. So so let me start with you, Jason. We only have you for a few minutes. Overall, what struck you most about this movie, and were you able to key into any of the themes? Because I call this movie, quite honestly, the blackest movie I've seen since Boys in the Hood, and I am here for it.
And that's fair, and I actually enjoyed that take by you. That was very that was a great theme to hit on. From movie perspective alone, I'll say this from a Marvel universe kind of way, it was my favorite Origins movie. I didn't like the first Captain America. I didn't like the first Thor. First Iron Man was fire. I'm not going to say it wasn't.
Yeah.
Straight fire. This was fantastic. It really was a good movie. I do have a few problems with it, which we'll get into at some point.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no. Well, since we only have it for a certain amount of time, let's get into some. It's not a perfect movie.
Ed, how about this? You have me for the next 25 minutes, so don't worry. Don't cater to me. We're good. We're going to have a good conversation about this movie because, like you, I deep dove for a day and a half after seeing it, and I watched Civil War again. You know, I wanted to see the context. I read all the articles from every point of view about the movie. And that's kind of the best part about this movie is the fact that everybody has a very strong opinion about it. Granted, everybody seems to like it because if you don't like it, you're going to get destroyed on Twitter. And
maybe rightly so. Just kidding. Go ahead.
but since we're just introducing the movie, I thought it was fantastic. And we'll leave it there until I get a little more controversial.
Okay, all right. Now, what about you, Nick? You were there with me. We actually, So tell people how the movie was originally screened for us, because that's a cool story that I've been telling over and over, but yet I have no visual proof because I'm a movie dork and I was too slow on the draw of my camera.
And the crazy thing is that none of us actually have proof, which is really bizarre. But so we went to Grauman's Chinese Theater on Hollywood Boulevard, which is infamous. They have revamped it, and it has a true IMAX, which we did not know about. And that's awesome.
7:15 p.m. Friday showing. Yep, packed house.
Friday showing, and we ended up with the president of Marvel. We ended up with Ryan Coogler and Chadwick Boseman coming in to introduce the movie for us. And for whatever reason, all of us are true movie nerds and had our phones off and tucked away, and nobody captured the moment. Even B, he took a video, but it cut off. His pictures were blurry. My pictures are blurry. Momo.
So wait, real quick,
couldn't do anything.
Nikki, you're a sane human being, unlike Eduardo. So wait, y'all went to the movies, and those people showed up and introduced the movies unbeknownst to anybody.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
incredible.
And it was amazing.
And my mom, the draft mom, she asked me, so she's like, so does that always happen? Like, no, mother, it never happens. It only happens in LA. And this is why I drove 4 hours from Vegas to be part of this. It was part of the communal experience. I wanted to see this in a village. And to top it all off, the shaman, the warrior, and the king of the village all showed up at once. It was great. It was awesome.
What was the so was this opening night of the film?
Just about. It was Friday night. Yeah. So,
It was Friday night.
Friday night. All right. So very busy night in Hollywood. What was the demographic breakdown of the crowd?
Our crowd was actually pretty. Oh yeah, our crowd was super diverse, which was really cool.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Different ages. There was a baby in there that, thank goodness, I didn't hear until like the very end.
There was a baby.
There's a baby. And then like different ages. I think as young as maybe that baby, all the way up to maybe people like in their 70s and maybe a little bit older. And then probably what would you say, Ed? Maybe almost every culture that exists in LA was in that theater.
I saw everything, and the thing I thought was great was that there was a whole like there's a whole row behind me of just it seemed like a white family with their kids. There's like 3 or 4 of them, and they're all like under the age of 5, which I guess is a little problematic. But I mean, they all seemed to enjoy it and love it and had a great time. So yeah, I saw everything out there. It was a really mixed crowd, but I would say probably 40% black tops. I mean, there was a lot of black people.
That's the great mark of a movie. It's not necessarily like the it's the age demographic. If you have like you're telling me there's 70-year-olds, I mean 70-year-olds think way differently than like any kind of 20-year-old of any color.
Right.
So, if you have a 70-year-old and like a 12-year-old, you have covered all the bases, like regardless of race. I mean, so that's fantastic.
And that's one of the things that struck me, and I wanted to start with the age. I mean, even my dad, who is 70, saw it and is going to go now because he's going to be traveling and he wants to see it in different countries. So the different countries so he's going to see it. He's going to try to see it in Thailand, Bali, and Malaysia because that's where he's going to be for the next month.
Yo, shout out to your pops.
Sandy, also a former podcast guest. Absolutely.
Getting it in.
Yes, and I heard like South Africa was lit, and I mean, you want to talk about coming out dressed in Wakandan, regality. I mean, they really showed that in places like South Africa. I heard Korea was off the hook. I mean, it's truly a global film.
Yeah,
so
that's very cool. And it'll probably be like a different experience anywhere you go, which is again is like a mark of a great movie.
Right.
It's like most movies just kind of viewed, and like everybody takes it almost kind of the same way. This movie might be viewed very differently, like regardless or depending on where you watch it.
Sure, and one thing I want to talk about as we launch into just the basic themes of the movie is that I mean actually I'll just kind of read real quick my little off the cuff review I posted in the Cinema Draft group chat, still open to everybody in case you guys are looking forward to it. But yeah, so basically I said that subjectively this is the blackest thing I've seen since Boys in the Hood, and I'm here for it. Just based on that alone, it gets 4 reels for me because it gets at all of the complexities of Africans, African Americans, Africans versus African Americans, blackness, colonialism, isolationism, and a half dozen other issues that normally don't get covered intelligently in film. I said I need to see it again, which I did before I slot it. I'm still having some trouble, but I think it might be a top 3 Marvel movie. Like definitely top 3. To me, it wasn't the best because Civil War is just a perfect film. It's a perfect film, Captain America: Civil War. But this is a great cultural event as well as a movie, and all that really makes it fun to watch and experience again and again. I am going to see it a 3rd time, most likely post-surgery because I am going on a knife in about 12 hours. But I am looking forward to seeing it again and again. And I even thought like someone like Okoye, in the previews and trailers, you see this badass bald-headed chick with the spear, doing her thing, and you're getting excited for her. And you think she's going to steal the show, and she does a great job. McAllister's own Denai Guerrera, actually, Gene Ice actually knows her and went to school with her. Back in McAllister. So another fine graduate McAllister, Peter Berg, all sorts of stuff. But it was Shuri who stole the show for me. I really loved the theme of not just like strong, Wakanda women, but also women in tech. Women in quote unquote non-traditional, at least Hollywood viewed roles as like, leading armies and going on spy missions and stuff. I mean, Nakia was like a James Bond type, like she's been around the world and been like spying. She knows Crazy Sophia with the seashells or whatever in South Korea. It was really cool seeing people in roles that we don't normally get to see in traditional filmmaking. Like you said.
Yeah, I mean that was obviously like the number one thing everybody took from it was, I think personally, it's like women. I mean, if I'm going above and beyond like race or anything like that, it's just like, wow, women, strong women taking control. I was raised by a single mom, so that like really resonates with me. It's like, you know, that was really cool. And Shuri was fantastic.
Yeah,
but that was a very, very cool theme of the whole movie.
And multifaceted they were. They weren't just one thing, and that happens sometimes where you'll have it'd be okay. Well, she's completely into tech, and that's it. But she was really, really well rounded, and still a teenager feel to her. So that was really cool.
She could fight too. I mean, she needs some tech.
She did everything.
But yeah, she was getting it in. I mean, and so here's. Okay, so what's the real question I want to ask? Well, you know, I'm gonna say that later. So I guess one of the things that really kind of stood out to me too is just also the cinematography. He had so many like just shots that just are kind of like, you know, just emblazoned on my mind. I mean, especially on a second viewing, like the shot of and I'll never find it out of 365 pictures in time, but that one shot of Okoye on the top of the car with her dress flowing in the wind, with her spear ready to go wreck some shit. I mean, tell me some. I mean, if there are any like favorite shots or moments, you know, bring them up, because that, to me, the cinematography itself was really cool. Like the 360 or more like a 180 camera around Angela Bassett and the women in Ross when they're, you know, get surrounded by the mountain tribe and something. Just so many really iconic shots. Burning all that shit. It's really, really stuck with me.
Nikki, go ahead.
Oh no, that's okay. I didn't have anything to add. I was still listening to E.
Sorry.
No, but you asked what our favorite shots in the movie were, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that might be. It was definitely beautiful, and you know me, Ed. I hate like too much CGI, and it felt a little too CGI-y for me. I wish they'd backed up off that just a little bit. You know, it didn't feel as natural to me watching the movie. Everything felt kind of like, oh, they created that on a computer. That's great. You know,
true, which is, to be honest, though, part and parcel with most Marvel movies. Now there probably is a little more CGI in this movie than, say, a Captain America. It seems like those are more of like hand-to-hand combat ones. But I mean, I get what you're saying. But to me, it wasn't terribly distracting until, like, say, the train fight scene. That was really very CGI and does take you out of it a little bit.
I liked the pit that they created where they fought to be king.
Yeah,
it was very cool. Everybody was hanging out and everybody was watching the fight. That was very cool. That would probably be my favorite thing I saw.
Yeah, that's. Oh, go ahead, Nick.
I was gonna say I don't know that I have a favorite. I need to watch it again because I agree with you, E. Like I liked so many different parts of it, and even the CGI. I wasn't really distracted until like the train fighting sequence.
Right, and I think that's what I mean. If anyone has any like demerits for this movie, that it's usually in the third act when it kind of comes out, because the train fight scene was it's not especially it was over the top, but it felt a little long, kind of, and then his death was really drawn out. But I do like, of course, his final words. I mean, Killmonger's final words were pretty great, and everyone, I think they're already making T-shirts and blazing with it and stuff too. Like, bury me with my ancestors, you know, and not, you know, those who jumped instead of those who they would rather die than have lived under bondage or whatever it is. Because that, I mean, well, there are a lot of people, black and otherwise, can really relate to that.
While I get into those words, I don't think they were uttered by the right person. So, like, when a murderer who is like ready to commit genocide on his own people, but like utters words of like he had a choice in his life, whereas he's quoting people who had no choice at all. So I actually was kind of taken aback by that. I thought that was kind of insensitive. He wasn't the right person to say that, in my opinion.
Huh, that's interesting. To me, it felt like it went with his through line as far as because he's that guy, and maybe you don't know this brother, but I definitely know this brother, Jay. When I went to school at Morehouse, there was always those guys. I think maybe the name of them now are like Hoteps or something. I don't know. These people who are just super duper into blackness. Blackness is all cost. Blackness to the exclusion of everything else, and they take things like to the nth degree. And that's kind of what Killmonger was to an extent. He was like, I mean, because his rationale had a point. Like, you know, look, we could be spreading all this technology and helping black people across the world, but his methods, you know, his means and his end were super duper shady. So he's reminding me of Hotep Bro over at Morehouse, or Atlanta, or anywhere you get like, especially a bunch of black people together. It's like, okay, dude, like I heard you. I'm still eating my pork. I'm still dating white women. I'm still gonna enjoy my life. Whatever it is. He reminds me of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Am I wrong?
He's fantastic.
I did not think of Killmonger as Hotep Plus. Like that is actually not a bad comparison, where you have some of the ideals where you're like, okay, and then it just goes all the wrong way.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe they didn't have enough of those at UCLA, but they're out there, trust me.
You'd be surprised, E.
Now I have to Google Hotep Plus now. Now I have homework. Y'all gave me homework tonight.
Amen. Ashe. Okay, so that is one of the biggest things I was really excited to see was the diversity of points of view of blackness on screen, and you don't get that shepherded into any movie, let alone a big budget movie like Marvel, without probably the work of a Nate Moore. Actually, let's look up Nate Moore real quick. He's a Marvel executive, and I think like the highest ranking black Marvel executive up there, and he's an executive producer on this film. I'm pretty sure it was part of his job to make sure that all the not controversial, but all the non-traditional themes that Coogler was trying to talk about and get in there, stayed in, and I was really pleased to see that carried on. Yeah, well, actually, let's look at Nate Moore. Nate Moore, he there we go, producer of Black Panther. Oh, there he is. Yeah, we come in all shapes and colors and sizes. Yeah, this is Nate Moore at Captain America: Civil War. What are his credits? I think he's been with Marvel the entire MCU. Okay, no, so he just has 4 credits. It's the 2 Captain Americas and the Black Panther, which is pretty cool. And then he's got, I guess, some appearances on like some extra tracks, whatever. So yeah, so it's Nate Moore. He was one of the executives in charge of this, which is really important. I'm interested to see what maybe Ava was angling for that she didn't get, because to me, like, this is the blackest damn thing I ever seen, and it, of course, would have probably been a totally different movie under Ava. Still probably good, but I'm very curious. I wonder like what the creative differences were, or if they need to go through that process of going up against a strong black director and they couldn't kind of handle it. But then when they got Coogler and they're like, you know what, it kind of reminds me of, well, I'm not going to go into that. Anyways, it seemed like maybe Ava softened them up for someone like Coogler, who still has really strong, ideas about stuff, to come in and really, do his thing.
But then Coogler's into comic books. I don't know that Ava is.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, good point.
Look, Coogler's amazing. He's a very talented young dude. He's going to make like 50 other incredible movies. I would argue this is like a waste of his talent to do this movie. This movie was. What did Coogler add to this movie? You tell me. I just don't know. I don't know what he did. The story was the story. So it was already going to be told. I don't know what Coogler brought to this, to this movie.
And that's kind of where I wish Greg was here, because he's the comic book head. Like, he would be like, he brought, this. What to me? Well, actually, I'll tell you exactly what Coogler did bring to the story, because this, I'm sure, wasn't necessarily in the comic books. He brought the whole Oakland framing.
Yeah.
That's 100% Coogler. All this shit has.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, not all. He's Oakland through and through.
That wasn't in the comic book. That wasn't in the comic books. That was like a side thing added to the story, yeah? Or do you know the comic books?
No, that's a side thing added to the story. So that's a Coogler signature, is for there to be some Oakland-ness in it.
I don't know where Anquan Fuke was from, or I don't know where other, you could have brought any director in from any city, somebody that, from Baltimore, Philadelphia, or Boston, or, and it could have been relevant regardless.
No, yeah, but I'm saying, like, the idea to come up with that type of framing device is basically what they did. I mean, and it's kind of cool the way they did it. They sort of kind of retconned Black Panther's, origin story to an extent, because there is something, because the whole Claw thing, like, we saw Claw, I think, was Winter Soldier, right? Did we see him in Winter Soldier? Yeah, that's when we first saw Claw, and we had no idea. I mean, back then he was, he was dealing in stolen vibranium or whatever, but it wasn't like a big deal. This, and I was actually talking to the middle of this.
Avengers. The second.
Ultron.
Yeah, Ultron.
Yeah. We saw him in Ultron, and so he was kind of like, just another shady dude, like, villain number 2 of like 4 in Age of Ultron, which is fine. And he was, charismatic. Whenever he loses his arm, big deal. Whoop. But what I thought was really smart, was that they retconned his whole relative importance to the MCU, or at least to the Black Panther story, by making it have him have stolen this vibranium 30 years ago, and have that be a big deal, and the death of W'Kabi's father and all this other stuff. Like they made that into a lot bigger deal than it was. And I think the germ of the idea probably came from Coogler. Like, all right, let's set this back, in the day, sit in Oakland, let's set this whole. I'm pretty sure the whole construct of a deep examination of blackness and what Africans mean to African Americans and vice versa. I'm pretty sure that probably came from Coogler. Now I give all props to Stan Lee and them because they did create the character in the '60s, but I find it hard to believe that he had much to do with that. I think, if anything, we owe a big debt to. I heard Ta-Nehisi Coates, and I think there's another black writer who picked up the comics, like I think a few years ago in preparation for this movie, who introduced us to Dora Milaje. I heard that was one of his constructs, and that I think I think Shuri was amped up or something in that, or he created like Dora Milaje and Shuri. Those are like Ta-Nehisi's contributions, but otherwise, I mean, I'm pretty sure Coogler brought the Oakland piece, the framing piece, and it's just and what I think he added,
he's very talented. I'm not arguing that he's not incredibly talented. I'm just saying that like these Marvel things kind of write themselves. So if you're part of a Marvel project, you have to stay inside of a box because you have to fit into a larger piece. Mm-hmm. Whereas Coogler in a spot where it's just like, just here's something, make it great, is going to be amazing. So he's kind of confined, and his arms are kind of tied behind his back.
I feel it's the opposite. I mean, what do you think, Nick? Do you think that he was kind of like pulling some punches, or because you've seen Creed and Fruitvale, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So do you think he was like holding back at all, or
that he was what?
Do you think he was like kind of holding back, like he wasn't allowed to really play in this world, or what do you think, Nick?
I don't know. I don't think that I didn't feel like he was held back just because of the Oakland references that were in there. Mm-hmm. And just even, because I was talking to B, like, when was that? A couple of days ago. And I was like, I was not as familiar with the comic, but I'm like, there wasn't any Oakland reference. And then just even for him to have them setting up their center there in Oakland was very much a reference in my mind to the actual Black Panther Party, which
I totally missed that.
Which this movie is not about. Right. But that is, I want to keep. I want people to understand that. However, with it being Coogler, and he knows, I mean, that's where the Black Panther Party's first headquarters was, in Oakland. It's now, I believe, a bakery. But for them to have that kind of cultural center there that's definitely Coogler, being able to flex some of his muscle and show like, okay, this is where they're going to have this center now.
That's value added. You don't get that if some other, you have to, if the Russo brothers do Black Panther. You just don't get that.
Real quick, the way I took it was this. It's funny how everybody looks at things differently. Was they're doing it in Oakland and they're opening up this cultural technology center because Oakland is so close to Silicon Valley, the richest place in the world, and Oakland has so much crime and like is not reaping the benefits of living that closely to that much wealth and knowledge. So
and it's funny you mentioned that because we not only do we see it this way, but also Oakland, especially for Black people, is kind of known as like the Atlanta of the West Coast, if anything. I mean, and it's increasingly losing that flavor because of gentrification. All the rich tech people who can't afford San Francisco moving to Oakland. We had a conversation about that in the car ride on the way back from Black Panther. So it is interesting how different cultures evaluate those same things differently. And I'm kind of with Nick only because, and I totally forgot about the Black Panther tie-in. That's actually a really good point. But Oakland is his home, and also it is a site of a decent amount of economic, inequality, and also a bunch of Black people who probably could, like you said, get better access to the tech wealth in the surrounding Silicon Valley.
100%.
Yeah, that's good. And I'm just like going through these pictures. I'm hyped on that. All right, so the second thing I want to talk about real quick was the women. Now, we did touch on this a little bit. Jay and I are both products of strong single mothers, what have you. And I just love seeing all these badass, beautiful, dark-skinned women. I love it. I love women of all shapes and flavors and sizes and everything, but very rarely do we see dark-skinned women who aren't in positions of being the help or being a Jezebel. Or there are actually types. We had these archetypes in, there we go. We had these archetypes in Ethnic Notions. It's a class that took its film in, I think, sophomore junior year, taught by a former Broadway director. And I remember going through these archetypes of Black women portrayed throughout history in film, and it was depressing. Like, you know, the Mammy, Jezebel, this, that, and it was great to see the diversity of Black women in this, who are doing different stuff, who are all being strong in their own different way with different personalities. And I kind of want a spinoff for each one of these. It would be fascinating.
Dude, Ed, you're stealing this theme from when you and I did Hidden Figures about like 8-9 months ago.
That's right.
Do you remember what I said? I said, man, I got out of that movie. It was amazing. I loved it. It felt too Disney to me because I wanted to see like 3 movies on each of those women. Yes. And all 3 of those movies would have been amazing. That was my take from Hidden Figures, because like it was like, wow, how didn't I know about these people? They're incredible. Yeah. So
and rumor has it the Coogler's original cut was like 4 hours. So I mean, we may see that movie in this movie.
4 hours,
and that's the fun part of 4 hours. But I think everybody would have loved 4 hours. Nobody would have moved. They would have loved every second of it.
Give me an hour of Shuri. Just give me an hour of Shuri. What are those?
She's too young. She's too young for 4 hours. She's too young.
No, just an hour. Just give me an hour of the 4 with Shuri. That's all I need.
Really enjoyed the movie, but a half of a day, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, and then it's. I mean, I would have paid money to see the Nakia Spy movie. Her, female James Bonding around the world and stuff. I mean, it was really great to see women being so strong and powerful, and then the fighting, of course, the denied Guerrera. I mean, McAllister's fine, and she was just. I mean, her expressions. I mean, even from the beginning, he's like, he's like, oh, I don't need you, Okoye, and she gives him this look like, oh, really? Okay, we'll see how this works out.
That's what I took. If you put all the characters in that movie together in like a Kumite battle royale, I have no doubt in my mind she would win.
Oh God, yeah.
She was like the most believable fighter of the entire movie.
Because she was kind of casual and arrogant about it. Like she'd whip some guy in his nuts with a spear and look at him like, light work.
She had a lot of disgust for people.
Yes.
Disgust is a beautiful emotion. Yes.
Yes. She had a lot of disgust all the way through. Melanie's favorite line was when she had on the wig and was like, "Oh, it's a disgrace."
Oh. I'm not gonna lie. She looked sexy as fuck with that wig on now. I'm not into the Grace Jones look, if we're being honest.
Generally, I'm not either, but the way they did like her war paint or her tattoos, whatever, I was like,
she looked beautiful.
She looked amazing.
Really hot. She looked hot. Yeah, I mean, I don't know even what more I can even say about the women. Just that obviously they were the highlight of the movie. I mean, for better or worse, T'Challa was the least interesting, character in his own movie, which is. I wouldn't say it's a disservice. It's just like they wrote the supporting characters way too well. I mean, Killmonger, is just fascinating, and everyone's saying he's the best Marvel comic villain or Marvel Cinematic Universe villain yet. Okay, all right, make a case. Who's the best one so far? Because if
I don't know who the best is. I would say that it would have been very easy for him to easily be the best, but they underwrote the part.
Oh, no.
They totally we got like almost zero backstory on him, as we talked about before. We were told about him. We were told what he did. I needed more Michael B. Jordan. I needed more of him because he's amazing. I needed more in him and Chadwick Boseman going head to head, 2 amazing actors, and we were totally robbed of that scenario.
Well, that sounds like I'm pretty sure that's in the director's cut. Are you listening, Coogler? Release the memo. Release the 4-hour cut.
Release it. And more M'Baku, and then we're good. Yeah, and then we're good. Those 3 guys living in a shore house in New Jersey. I'm good. I'm watching that every week. M'Baku, Killmonger, and T'Challa hitting the bars together. I'm watching that.
Please believe Winston Duke is another. I mean, so many of these guys are breakout characters. Of course, Michael B. Jordan's already broken out per se, but everyone's talking about his performance.
But not as a villain. This is him as a villain, and that was pretty dope.
Oh,
was he? I mean, was he a villain though? Nick, I mean, we can argue that all day long.
Are you Team Killmonger? # Team Killmonger.
I'm not, Killmonger, but I'm team. History is the villain.
Okay.
History is the villain in this movie, not like Killmonger or anybody else. There really aren't any villains. They're just people that have opinions and are like living their life out accordingly. history is the true villain in this movie.
And that's
that is fair.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it because that's why I think this, he is actually the best villain that we see in the MCU because he's really, he's not just he's misunderstood per se, and not that he just went too far, but he has a valid point. And so, so here's what I was saying to people when I was talking about it over the weekend: is that so often you see in these movies, right? You see a hero come up against a villain. Let's say like in the Dark Knight comes up against the Joker. The Joker, he's crazy, whatever. And he forces the Dark Knight to reach, depths or whatever he has reached before, or whatever, and come from within to beat him or outsmart him or whatever. That's usually how villains succeed in these superhero movies. Instead, Killmonger's the one villain. I can't remember another villain hero thing where Killmonger's the type of villain that actually made T'Challa a better person. T'Challa was on the fence. T'Challa was a fucking Republican. He's like, nah, we're gonna keep our vibranium and we're gonna keep our borders up. We don't want to let these outsiders in and stuff, Even though his ex-girl was trying to get him over off the fence and let people in. And it took Killmonger and his extremism, and sense of history to force him to become a better person. That's why I think Killmonger is the best villain in the MCU, because he doesn't force the guy. He actually makes an impression on the hero to become a better person, even though it's through dubious means.
So, wait, you could argue that.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was like, I just want to be clear. You're arguing that he's the best villain, period, not just within the Marvel universe?
No. Just within the MCU. The MCU. I haven't done a deep dive on all-time villains. I don't care.
We will forever. And I see the point that you're making, but Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah. Well, the Joker felt like the Joker is a great role, a great character, a great performance, but it felt a bit like a party trick because the Joker doesn't have much behind him. He's just pure anarchy. There's no.
That's why I was Heath Ledger's Joker. So and Joker does have a backstory to him.
No, he does, but he keeps lying about it. I'm talking about in the Dark Knight Joker. He keeps lying about it. We don't know truly what his backstory is. We just know he's crazy. We just know he wants the world to burn. That's a fairly simple villain. This is a complex villain because he's right. He's right. He's going about the wrong way.
But here's my question. Can you be the greatest villain in Marvel history when you have a hairdo as like the fourth member of Morris Day in the Time?
People were feeling that. Wait, how do you feel
Come on. I love Morris Day. That's my guy. But the hairdo was too much for me.
It's right? What do women feel? What do black women feel about this hairdo? Because I've been seeing a lot of raves for his hairdo on Twitter, straight up. Black women love his hairdo.
When you said they want that hairdo?
No, they love his hairdo.
Oh,
they like his body. They like how jacked he is. Right? They like how handsome. Yeah, he's a handsome dude, and he's jacked. It doesn't matter
his hairdo.
Yeah, he can wear a fucking rooster on his head. It does not matter. Dude's got like 3% body fat. He's a beast.
He looks from like the eyes up. He looks like Alfred Payton.
I don't
fantastic,
know
man.
that anybody was talking. I have not heard from any of my women friends about his hair, but
they haven't looked from the neck down yet. Or all they've looked at is the neck down. They haven't looked the neck up.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to talk about was the universe. And basically, this is the type of production that, first of all, people are going to see again and again. It's going to stay in people's consciousness, and that's great. It's gonna be mentioned at Oscar time before, at the very least, wardrobe and production design. Oh my God, they did that shit. From the costumes to like the throne room sets to just the whole overall look. Like the production design of this production was fucking fantastic. You felt like you were in a world. People came out of that movie saying like, hoping that Disney opens up like Wakanda Land or something like as the next Disney theme park. Straight up, I'd go. I'd turn into a 5-year-old kid and want to ride the rides. Shoot, why not? What do y'all think about the production design and the wardrobe, or seeing the overall universe of Wakanda? What do y'all think about that?
I think they did a wonderful job, and that's why we got a chance to see a lot of cosplay when people were coming out and dressed up and just really enjoying it. And some of it, like the Dora Milaje, their outfits and just them in general were inspired by real life all-woman army in Africa. So
wait, hold on. There are all-women armies in Africa, straight up?
Researching, with the Dora Milaje, because it was they came out earlier than Tanaze's Black Panther.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Yeah, they were created in 1998.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, I think Nikki nailed it. I think like the cosplay stuff and the fact that you went to this movie and you like walked out and you were like, this is a real world.
Yeah.
Like this is cool. Like I feel like Wakanda exists, you know, and if it doesn't exist, it should exist. So like I mean, they captured all of that perfectly. Like you left there, and if you didn't deep dive on Google for like 9 hours, you missed the whole point of the movie. So.
And to me, that's what really makes a good.
This guy, oh wow! Don't put that guy up there. Lip guy, I hated
what
lip
do you
guy.
have?
Right?
Oh, okay.
Lip guy.
We'll keep it moving. We'll keep it moving.
I mean, think about it. Even a few of us all dressed up too. So.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Your dude, he had his T'Challa T-shirt. I was a little jealous. I was a little jelly. Momo with a beautiful skirt. Actually, let me bring up the little Instagram. We had a hot little Instagram.
Really? No, don't put that up there, E.
What? It's public. We look good.
Oh, that's true. It is public. Okay.
Yeah. Revel in your beauty.
Ed,
yeah.
Ed, are we in the hot take portion of the show?
Oh, you know what? Why not? Go for it. I'll clear out the lane. Go for it.
And this pains me more than anything in the entire world to say. But my man Sterling K. Brown has entered Costanzaville because he's always Randall from This Is Us for me.
Wow.
That's just like, he's so amazing. He's just so like, he was awesome in the OJ. He's awesome in everything he does.
Yes.
But dude, the minute he was on that screen, I'm like, yo, Randall, I wanted to cry. I'm like, oh shit, where's Jack Pearson? I'm thinking about fires. I'm thinking about dogs. I'm thinking about fat people. I mean, there was a lot going on. I mean, he's.
And I've been fighting it, but apparently I need to watch the show. I know he's
what?
great.
Yes.
You don't watch This Is Us?
I don't watch This Is Us. I don't feel like I don't feel like I want my emotions toyed with right now. I just don't feel.
Well, that tells you all you need to know right there. The fact that I saw him and I had like 30 things run through my head that weren't related to the movie that I was watching.
Wow. Yeah, I can see that. I hear it's an iconic role. He's won Emmys for it. Like, I get it.
Oh, he's amazing. He's absolutely incredible. Incredible.
Well, maybe you know what? Maybe I'll watch it during my recovery. I don't know. You like This Is Us, Nikk?
I love This Is Us. Yes. I can't believe you don't watch it.
It's amazing, right?
I can't watch everything. Have you watched Grownish yet? Have you watched Alone Together? Didn't think so. No, I was kidding. All right.
Actually, yeah. I've just watched the most recent episode of Grownish and Alone Together earlier today.
Okay. All right. Well done, Nikk. Well played, then. Well played. All right. So what other hot takes you got? Unload the clip.
I just gave one. Nikk, what do you got? You got a hot take?
We haven't done those. You have to explain what those are to me.
A hot take? No, just like a controversial opinion or
just
something.
A controversial opinion. Yeah. Something you got like the top of your head.
Oh.
Fire.
No, not at this moment. I do not.
Because on
the next pod, we'll get a hot take.
Yeah, right.
Come back to me. I'm sure I'll have one in a second.
Well, and I'm not sure if my takes are all that hot. Well, I guess here's my hot take, or it's more like medium lukewarm take, to be honest with you. Actually, let me turn the screen share off. There we go. So I would probably say that this is not the best, MCU movie. Now, a lot of Black people, will have claimed this is the best Marvel movie ever, and and go with God. I can understand the reasons why. It's definitely the best, movement around a movie, that Marvel's done probably since the first Avengers. Like, I haven't felt this much kind of excitement for a movie since that probably. But I will say that that it's probably, I would rank it. Oh man, I want to rank it second, but I think it comes third. I think it might.
It's top three.
It's top three. Yeah, third at the worst because it goes. Captain America: Civil War. Man, I'm thinking. You know what? I'll give it number 2 because thematically, it's no. You know what? No, the Avengers number 2. Then Black Panther, then Iron Man, and then Spider-Man: Homecoming. That's my top 5 MCU.
Okay, wait. So which Avenger
into the equation? I mean,
no, the first
movie
Avenger.
Stand alone. If it's just a movie,
what's that?
By its.
The Avengers, you mean? Repeat that. Go ahead. Oh no, he's breaking up. Damn it. Try again. Oh, okay.
I can't hear him. Can you hear me?
Are we back?
Yeah.
Are we back?
Oh, there we go.
There he
You're
is.
back. You're back. Go ahead.
We're back. Let's go. Fire away, Nikk.
No, we couldn't hear you. We lost you.
Yeah,
no,
you had to
saying, as far as like my favorite like movies, it's Black Panther by itself, just the movie without any of the other stuff that's going on, which is like very, very important, and what makes it so good, is a top 6-7 movie in the Marvel
of all time or in the MCU?
No, in the Marvel universe.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say.
When you put everything around it in there, it's a 1 or 2. I mean, it really is. Like, there's nothing better than leaving a movie that makes you think and makes you like a better human being. Like, regardless of who you are, you walk out of there, you're like, all right, yes. Like, you feel good. So Black Panther killed as far as that goes. Not a hot take. Not a hot take at all. Just fantastic.
I'm disappointed. You promised controversy, damn it. People came in. They see Jay Devlin on the title of this pod. They're gonna expect some hot takes. Give the people what they want.
I know people are waiting for me to say something crazy, but you know what? Like, I have nothing crazy to say. Like, I just really enjoyed the movie. It was really good. What I didn't like was I thought the fight scene sucked. I thought we didn't get enough Michael B. Jordan. I need more M'Baku. I would be a part of the Jabari tribe, like, hands down. It wouldn't even be close.
Because the furs and shit, right? All them furs.
Like, no, dog. I look good in a fur, but I'd be the only dude wearing flip flops up in the mountains, like, hands down. All right.
But could you be a vegetarian though? Could you be a vegetarian? I don't know.
Yeah, no, that would be a tough one. That would be tough. But they were the coolest people. But yeah, I mean, it's just a good movie. It put a smile on your face. It was just a nice, awesome movie. Excited to see where it goes from here. I want 11 origin stories from 11 different characters in that movie.
Straight up. So what about you, Nikk? Do you have a hot take, or are you just bored?
I don't. I feel like the controversial things that I have to say are about the think pieces that I'm not supposed to be reading.
But bring one up. The floor is yours.
Well, I mean, everybody has a different lens through which they view it through, and one of the ones that I saw was that we didn't need another movie that showed black on black crime, like it was black people fighting other black people, and I was like, they totally missed it. You know,
well, no, but in their defense, I'm just going to offer, a rationale for why they said that. Because the first time I saw this movie, I did cringe originally a little bit at the beginning when they showed like the different, tribes fighting and giving the history of Wakanda and stuff. But and that was just me. And that was just me kind of laying into my respectability politics bullshit. And once I realized, oh, you're self-editing. Fuck this. Doesn't matter. White people are here anyways. You've already spent a ton of money in this movie. Doesn't matter. That's actually what kind of happened in history. So just go with it. And I was fine with it after that.
Oh. Okay.
You kind of have to talk yourself through it if you like to consider yourself somewhat socially conscious or conscious of history or semi-woke or whatever term you want to use. I mean, you realize that the tribes in Africa fought each other a lot, sold each other to slavery, each other and all that sort of stuff. So it's all but that shouldn't be hidden. That's just what it is.
You talked yourself through it, and that's what I said. Is sometimes it just takes that one. It's not even 2 extra thoughts. It's just one more, one more thought. And you can get there. See, you were far away from me in the theater. And then
we had like 12 people in our group.
We didn't get a chance to check in after really about that. So, I mean, that was one thing. So that my criticisms, I think, are of some of the criticisms, but I get it. I mean, the way that I'm looking at it is that people have journal entries and
that was a think piece, huh? That's really what people wrote about.
That was
as the white guy in this conversation. Like, I'm watching this and I'm like, hey, people just don't get along. It doesn't matter what color you are. Like, black people might not like black people. There's plenty of white people that hate me, and I'm white. And I look at like the socioeconomic stuff. I think that like a great divide to me is like the rich and the poor, almost more so than like blacks, whites, Asians, poor, whatever. So, like, you look at the Jabaris, like, they're up in the mountains and they're living off, like, maybe they're vegetarians because they fucking can't afford to find any meat. And it's cold as fuck up there. And then the Wakandans are down here, like, the other 4 tribes have giant rhinoceros and technology and all this stuff. So I'm looking at, like, the economic part of the divide. And then you have Michael B. Jordan coming in with the, African-American part of, like, Oakland. Like, that was the fun part about it. I thought that's what made the movie work. if we're being honest.
Yeah, and that's
no, I did too.
So it's weird that people would write about that, like, you know, like black people are fighting black. That seems like a lazy, like I want clicks kind of thing.
Well, I mean,
it's that definitely.
The thing about think pieces and how I've, with myself included, but also trying to help like clients when they read things that are upsetting, is that just to kind of think that for some people, the internet is like their journal. So think of these as journal entries. Okay. Is what they're feeling in the moment, and those are their feelings, and for you to not necessarily be upset with how they feel. But I just thought that was an interesting take on it. So
and that's a good point. I never thought of the internet as good.
A quick question. So you use the word interesting take. What's the real word? When I want to have a word that I want to associate with it, and I'm in a group setting, I say interesting.
Did I say interesting?
What's the word you really want? No, Nikk.
I said interesting. Because I feel so. I don't want to say
your words,
wrong. Yeah, I don't want to say that it was a wrong take because this was this person's opinion, and I had to do my extra thought process of one more thought for me was remember you're looking at this as a journal entry. This is totally how this young woman is feeling. Probably not into comic books. Probably not into comics. Not into the Marvel universe at all. Has not necessarily studied as much about like African history or even African American history, and is just going from that spot. So that's why it's like, okay, I'm different. We'll say that it was different.
I'll call it what it is. It's ill-informed clickbait is all it is. It's like, I need to find something contrarian. I think Eduardo, why am I the only one that calls you Eduardo, by the way?
Because they know me too long.
Because I've seen you on the basketball court, and it's very embarrassing.
Especially this knee right now.
You posted something about the 5 black people that hate Black Panther, I believe. Was that you?
Yeah, those types. Yeah, let me see if I can find that. That was pretty funny.
So it's like, wow, people are just trying to find something to like criticize this movie about. That seems like the 4,000th thing you should criticize this movie about. And the fact that Nikki, you came across it and read it, like, sucks, because that shouldn't even be anywhere in the periphery of like things you're like, you know, regurgitating about this movie.
No, but I have to try to keep a wide net so that when, in case the clients come with me with stuff, I feel a little bit more informed. But I do try to stay out of the comments. My boyfriend has told me to stay out of the comments. Don't read those. Because I don't comment back, but I'm like, yeah, I need to not read comments. And so it's just an interesting take where, some people are trying to find just anything just to be different even. And it's okay. Let people like things. Let people have their fun. Like there was questions as to why are people dressing up? And it's like, okay, again, people are dressing up because cosplay, and I'm like, maybe you have not been to a Star Wars movie, but there are people dressed like Yoda and Ewoks and everything. Well, not so much now because you can't wear masks, but that you see people dress up, and it's just, we can have some fun. Like, just because you're having fun doesn't mean that we aren't taking the world serious, and we have to be more balanced in that. So
I would absolutely clown any nerd that fucking Ewok, for being honest. Or like any of those movies. I like all respect, love for anybody going to Black Panther, dressing how they dress. Like, if it's real people, I'm into it. If you're like doing like some Star Trek shit or some Star Wars, I'm out. I'm out on those people. I draw the line. Got to be real people.
And it's funny because there was a great tweet. I can't find it at the moment right now, but basically someone was like, "Look, all y'all, if y'all feeling overwhelmed by the sheer amount of Black Pantherness, going through timelines this weekend, whatever. Now y'all know how we feel when we see dress up as stormtroopers, like Ewoks, wizards, elves, trolls, hobbits, whatever. It's a celebration. Just enjoy it, and that's really the way this movie should be approached. It's a celebration of." Well, it's a celebration of a lot of stuff, but I mean, it's definitely a celebration of characters we don't normally get to see on the screen with this type of budget, with these type of diversity roles. And I just and just to kind of touch on what Nikk was saying with the different diversity people, there is a strain, just for you may not be aware of, Jay, in the Black community. There are a lot of different strains in the Black community, but there is definitely a strain of the respectability politics type, the type that's like, well, we need to be the Booker T. Washington branch, if you will. The ones where it's like, we need to be, extra together in a certain type of way, just to be presentable, that, self-edits a lot of our creativity and beauty. And so I've definitely seen and heard think pieces of that. I didn't actually read any that came from that branch of Black people. I can see the type who are taking it way too serious. I see the type who are like, oh my God, it's made so much money. When I give it to an HBCU. Yes, HBCUs, from which I graduated, do need that type of money, but can we just enjoy stuff? Yes, we can enjoy stuff. So it was great. But it was just great to have something that we celebrated that definitely spoke directly to us, that still had a universal appeal, and to see pretty much the universe get in on it too. And that's the mark of a true film and true cultural experience, in my opinion.
We can all agree on this, though. At the end of the day, little kids, black, white, yellow, Puerto Rican, or Haitian, whatever, Tribe Called Quest lyric, they will all walk out of that movie like feeling better about themselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So like little kids walking out of that movie and like being like, oh, I can do that. That's me. Oh my God. Like I have a hero. That's the best part of the movie. And it's a comic book movie. It's amazing. And it's like, it's all about the kids. It's not about us or like people in their 50s, whatever.
Yeah, and I could see like little white kids and people like doing cosplay too. Culturally respectable cosplay. They weren't blackface or any dumb shit. They're wearing the Black Panther mask, or they're wearing like the little hoodie or whatever, or they're dressed up like a Dora Milaje or whatever. And just being fun, respect. They're taking part in the fun. That's pretty much all you can ask for, especially as an artist. You just want people to enjoy your work and be entertained. I think we've all been entertained.
Right.
Marvel is killing it. We all look forward to what they do next. It's going to be a fun little ride for the next 6, 7, 8 years, as long as we're alive. So
absolutely. So we'll bring this in for landings. We know Jay's got to go pretty soon. I feel we've touched on most of the bases. Any parting thoughts or parting shots, Nikk?
Is that my parting shot that you have on the screen?
Oh, there. That's a really good. Is that fan art? Is that? I think it is actually commissioned art, isn't it?
I'm not sure. It's really small on my screen. But final thoughts is just take what you can from the movie, have fun with it, and I really hope that people can be more open. How's that?
Fair enough. And what about you, Jay? What's your parting thought or shot?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't want to get too deep into this stuff, but like, it's just a really good movie, and there's a lot of great themes to it. And again, just like Nikk said, just be open and it's enjoy something. Everybody, we're all in this fucking game together. The world is one big game, so we're all playing it. So, just stop hating.
No, embrace the Panther within you. Thanks everybody for coming out to Emergency Pod.
I was a young 22-year-old, 180-pound white dude who was 60% hair when I landed in St. Thomas to play basketball after college.
Sweet.
And I didn't see another white face for like 3 days. So it was very it was eye-opening coming from like a white community. It was like, all right, yo, we in this together. Let's do this, man.
Let's do this.
Yeah, so it's maybe I was blessed to learn very on that yo, we're all just people, man.
Yeah, and it's always a pleasure to get the chance to experience different culture. And what I really love about the blackest movie I've seen in like 2 decades is that everyone really is approaching this generally with a sense of wonder, enjoyment, excitement. And this thing is not done earning. This shit is. I mean, it's
hell no.
Easily gonna make.
Just started.
Well, yeah, but some movies are really front loaded. Look at like any of the 50 Shades movies, especially the first two. They're super front loaded. This one has got legs. It's got worldwide legs, and it's going to be $1 billion film. And already I've already seen on like Twitter and stuff, like my writer friend Lolita Files, she tweeted out the other day, she's like, literally right now, there are people calling up agents in Hollywood saying, you got any hot black stuff? You have hot black stuff. She's actually going to start making T-shirts saying #hot black stuff because they are trying to find the next Black Panther. It's kind of sad how Hollywood is such a copycat. But at least now it's our turn.
Yo, can I put a movie out there? Can I get an Equalizer prequel?
Oh God! Well, they're doing a sequel.
I want a prequel. I want to know
Michael B. Jordan.
No, with Michael. That's cool. Anybody? What? No. Give me my man M'Baka. What's his real name?
Oh, Winston Duke. Yo.
He could play a young Denzel. What was he doing before he went into hiding and then saved that Russian girl? That'd be a dope movie.
That's a really good look. I like that for him. Yeah. Okay.
That's not bad. Okay.
#hot black stuff. We'll get on that. Well, good shit, everybody. Thanks for coming out. To Nikk, to Jay, clap it up for yourselves. And spirit, to get my full Forrest Whitaker on. In the spirit, the Black Panther. Let's play us out with some more of that soundtrack. That's some more of that fire. Number one debuting soundtrack too. Number one on Billboard, as well as number one in movie. First at the same time it's ever happened. Quite something.
Number 2 is Mostly Sports on iHeartRadio.
Oh yeah, that's right. Plug your ish. Plug your ish, Jay?
Yo, Mondays 12 noon live. Mostly Sports, iHeartRadio, UBN Radio, Facebook Live. Tinder. Every, MySpace, any site out there, just find Mostly Sports on the Google machine.
That's what's up. Nikk, anything to promote? Your practice, perhaps?
You do this every time. Okay, if you go to my website, you can read blogs on how to find a therapist. There you go.
All right, there it is, people. Blog, How to Find a Therapist. She will pop up. And, of course, cinemadraft.co. We're still kicking. Not alive. We're kicking. We're working on stuff behind the scenes. Hopefully we'll be back to you sooner than later. Also, check out my other site and my other podcast, Blacks and Bitcoin, which can be found at blacksandbitcoin.com. And also the same name for podcast, Blacks and Bitcoin. Look it up anywhere you find your fine podcasts.
First coin.
And with that, engage with the Black Panther within. Holla. Oh, that's right. Why don't you go see a movie or something?
There he is.
Oh, wow. So right.